Okay, so I've been meaning to make this video for a long time. Kind of floated it around a lot, but yesterday I got so hung up on like 5 different laptops doing Windows updates. I just thought it's about time I have to make this video. Hi there, I'm Timmy Joe, and I make videos about computers on the internet. And what do computers need to run? Well, an operating system. And since Linux hasn't figured out how to, be a user-friendly, games-friendly operating system yet, sorry, I know all 1% of the users of Linux will be running to the comments right now to burn me at the stake. But, Windows is still on 75% of the world's PCs, and although they are losing market share to things like Chrome OS, it's still, they're going to be around for a long time. I don't know, but they need to fix some stuff, and I can't believe, I can't stay silent on how Windows is so broken in so many ways. So I've made a list of my top 5 most hated things about Windows, and I wanted to keep this video short, so I'm only keeping the 5 in there, but I could definitely do like 15 more videos about this stuff. So, feel free to go in the comments and suggest some things, and I'll keep my mind out for it. But we'll start off, let's jump right into it. My biggest pet peeve about Windows 10, or my top 5, my 5th most top, I don't know, according to this list, the start menu. What happened to it? It used to make sense. It's like from 1995 until Windows 8, which was in 2012, the start menu was awesome, and it was just like everyone knew what it was. And then you did this big gap where you got rid of it and you wanted to do mobile stuff, and then you had to throw it back because everyone was just loading, putting it back there anyways. It was missing. Like, what was going on with that Metro UI stuff? So you take all that Metro UI touchscreen crap and throw it in the start menu, and it's been there since like the switch over Windows 8, like maybe in 2013. Like, why is it, like, who's ever used these icons? Most new programs don't even show up on them. They're supposed to tie into Windows apps. Who uses Windows apps? Like, come on. Like, go back to your roots, guys. Stop trying to fix what's not broken, or at least allow me to switch the start menu to the old start menu, to the Windows 7 one. The one thing I will say about the start menu, though, is I just press the start menu and type stuff to find things now. That's generally how I use it. I use it as a search, and the search is very, very good. You want to find a program that's buried in there and you haven't used it in 6 months, just type the first 3 letters and it will pop up. Like, I keep that for sure, but go back to Windows 7. So now on to 4. Okay, my number 4 most pet peeve thing about Windows: terrible default apps that never change, or if they do, it's for the worse. Who uses movies and TVs as their main video player? And then by default, the only other one installed is Windows Media Player. What is Windows Media Player still doing in there? Maybe if it was set up, new and it's the old one. It's from like Windows 7. It doesn't even make sense. And then you have things like updates like to Windows Paint. And you make this Paint 3D thing that looks nothing like Windows Paint, and then it's so bad you're going to turn around and remove it from Windows? Why didn't you update MS Paint to have more Photoshop functions? Keep it rudimentary, keep it for, kids drawing, make it look the same, but add some layers, add some filters, and, generally make it look like a newer app. It looks super old. That's what we would want. It's just something a little bit better. Like, the core of Windows side apps haven't changed since 1995, or if they have, it's been for the worst. So I don't know, it's crazy. So on to number 3, buying Microsoft software through their store. Oh my God, what a clusterfuck. I no longer use Microsoft Store for any games, except for maybe Minecraft, because it's just terrible. I'm sure you can agree. First off, if you want to buy a game on there or use their Xbox service, you might find the game and it just like won't install, and it doesn't tell you why. And really, it's because you don't have like the build of OS that like for that exact day. You haven't done your Microsoft updates for like that day. Because there's so many times where I install a game and then like 2 weeks later I go to play it and it won't open. And it's because I don't have an update for Windows installed that's just like pending there or something like that. I don't know. I do not like I've given up Forza, Gears of War, Halo, and that kind of stuff, benchmarking it, because it's not worth the trouble. Okay, so my second most hated thing about Windows 10 is the settings/control panel. What the fuck was wrong with the old control panel? Now, I know you hadn't updated it since 1995. It could have used maybe a fresh coat of paint, some updating for more modern OS stuff, but instead, in Windows 10, you switch to this settings menu that is terrible. You can never find the settings you want. You search for them, they don't show up. Half the time, the settings app is worse, like for sound and stuff like that, than the one that was originally in Control Panel. Why didn't you take Control Panel and make it better? Why did you make this whole other thing that's broken and doesn't work, and they're both on there? And then I read that they're going to be taking away the Control Panel in like this year. Like that was a report last year. So it's like in 2021, the Control Panel is going to go away. What? Don't do that. Or at least it's got to be fixed. You can't just leave that Windows settings app. It's terrible. So lastly, but certainly not least, the number one thing that brought us here today, Windows updates. Everyone watching can agree that Windows updates are the worst. I'd like to ask you, you've been through those big feature updates, right? They took forever to download, then they install and they bug you. They just tell you you're gonna have to restart your computer. Like every 5 seconds, and it shows up in the restart, in the shutdown, and then you go and do it, and it completes the update, and you get back to Windows, and you're like, why is there more updates to it? Why didn't it do it all in one shot? And there's more updates to install, so you restart it again. And then it brings you to a screen that says, hello, we've got some updates for you. And you're like, oh, okay, it's finally actually doing something different with Windows here. And then it goes through this whole setup, and it asks you to re-enable Cortana, and it throws some new version of Edge at you, and it really tries to guilt you into using it. And then you get back to the Windows desktop, and nothing's different. And you go through the settings, and nothing's different. And you go here and there, and nothing's different. It's like, what was this feature update for? Yeah, I could go look it up, but shouldn't it be immediately obvious? You just took like 3 hours of my time updating my computer, and this feature update looks like nothing has changed. I've even seen Windows updates that just make computers stop working. I've walked in the office, turned my computer on, it finishes an update, and then it restarts, and it does a Windows recovery. And I had to use, actually do a system restore to get my computer back. And I had to not let that update install, which is a whole thing on its own. So with all the hate, the Windows update bull crap and the default apps and all that stuff, I'm sure you all can agree with this. But I will give Windows 10 some praise. I don't think I could go back to Windows 7. You could, but you're going to be missing out on some stuff that Windows has really improved on. Number one, it just is really nice that you can take a hard drive from a Windows 10 machine and put it in any computer, and it will just figure itself out. Windows 7 wasn't like that. You couldn't take like an Intel SSD and put it in an AMD system, or maybe even just a different motherboard manufacturer, without Windows 7 breaking. So it's really cool that you can just switch that. There's a lot of things about Windows 10 that have gotten better. Generally, it's actually a lot more stable than it used to be. A lot less blue screens, or if there are blue screens, it's probably more hardware related stuff. Like as far as putting Windows on a Core i5 Dell, office computer, generally pretty damn stable these days. You don't get a lot of software blue screens and stuff like that unless it's like the software manufacturer side. So I will give them that, but they cannot, we cannot let them go for the things I mentioned, okay? Windows Update's the worst, for sure. Settings control panel is absolutely broken. Buying Microsoft games from the store, or who's even using any of those Microsoft apps? Everyone still goes to websites and downloads exe files to install, your things you need, your utilities. So why would you need to switch it? Because Android's like that? I don't know. Terrible default apps and, Windows start menu, stuff like that, all that put aside, I guess we'll just have to live with it, because it's the best way to play your video games. Really your only way to play most video games out there, unless you got a console. So I guess we got to live with it. But Microsoft, if you're listening, share this video with Microsoft. These 5 things could easily be addressed. Come on, do it all.